And we're back to Skyrim. Been a while since my last video. I did make a another longer video previously, which I decided was a bit dull, so I decided to get rid of that. Basically, what I thought I'd do for these is to do what I talked about previously and talk about some of the political side of the game, because I find it quite interesting. So my previous video was all about just going through the backstory, but it was, I'll be fair, incredibly dull and lasted about half an hour, so I dumped all 50 gig of that video. What I'm instead going to do is just go through it one faction per video. I think that's probably the easiest way to do it. Starting today with the Stormcloaks. Everyone's favourite Stormcloaks. Anyway, first things first, welcome aboard the Okazar. Okazar. Flag, and thus far only ship of my fleet. There we go. I have my command throne. Currently wearing the Blood Witch armor, I believe. I can't really get a very good sight with this, thanks to I've changed the ENB settings I'm using. I'm currently using Reimagined ENB, which has just come out recently. So it has changed how everything looks and is affected. And actually looks nicer than the previous ENB and runs better. So I do recommend this one, and it is incredibly pretty. I have no idea how well it's going to come out in the video though. Yes, this is the Okazar. It has everything you might need in a home for your ship. It can travel to several different locations along the coastline of Skyrim. Here, which is nearest to Windhelm, down near Winterhold, outside Dawnstar, and parked about here outside the Imperial capital of Solitude, which will... It's not particularly impressive transport, it's just a loading screen, the boat reappears over there, but we'll demonstrate that in a bit. No, when I get to the next video, I suppose. Its major feature so far is my favourite button of all, the cannon button. Because, oh my, that's satisfying. Nothing to actually shoot with it yet, but apparently they're working on that for the next update to the mod. It's got multiple decks inside. I'm not going to jump inside because I tend to get lost. But for this video I intend to talk to you about the Stormcloaks, which means I need to get down to Windhelm. Unfortunately, the coastline of Windhelm is full of ice flows and swampland, which has meant that they couldn't park the Okazar any closer, because it's quite a big boat. I'll also use this opportunity to show off one of my favourite effects of the Belly of Sanguine vampire mod is being updated fairly continuously. So, as well as the logical water breathing, I am currently a master level vampire, which basically means I can now do that. Because hey, I wasn't aware that being Jesus was a major noted vampire trait, but I am surprisingly okay with this. One of the other nice features about Belly of Sanguine, of course, is it also adds... What the hell was that? Actually, I'm not going to slow down because I will sink. Yes, there we go. Yep, that didn't sound happy. I think that was a dragon or a demon of some kind, added by Skyrim Monster Mod. I'm not going to turn around and fight him because, again, I am running on water at quite high speed. One of those things that Belly of Sanguine, of course, increases your... That did sound healthy. Increases your sprint speed based on how vampiric you are. I'm probably going to stay as the master level vampire for a while. I'm just going to leave those guys to it, I think. But yeah, so this is... We're now approaching Windhelm, apparently the oldest city in all of Skyrim. Home to the Stormcloak faction. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the Stormcloaks. Let's just get inside and I'll try and explain why. Go on, oh, tree from nowhere. This always works so well until you're filming. See, this works much better in my head, it must be said. Come on, jump. What do I pay you for? Just the other way then. Well, yes, that's a lot of favourites. I'm an indecisive person. Just the other way then. And just teleport the hell out of the water. The power blink spell, or ability. It's handy. It really is. I think I'll put Master Space Time on, because hey, we're probably going to need that later. Yes, this is Windhelm. The architecture is all in the style of the ancient Drag underground tombey places. It is apparently the oldest city in all of Skyrim. Its current leader is Jarl Ulfric Stormcloak, after whom the entire faction is named, oddly enough. Loading, loading, loading. It's an interesting town, and it has inside it most of what makes the Stormcloaks, well, Stormcloaks. The principal thing of the Stormcloaks, I suppose, is their general thought of Skyrim is for the Nords. I think 20 years ago in game, well, 20 years ago in the game's history, I think it was 20 years, something like that, the Empire, who you may remember from previous games, managed to lose a war to the Nazi elves, the Thalmor, who I'll cover a bit more in the next video, with the Imperials. I possibly might make a Thalmor video, though it will probably end up more like a Kill Bill massacre. I'm not a huge fan of them, it must be noted. Yes, the major thing about the Stormcloaks is they are the nationalist separatists, the IRA of the IRA of this world. That's a lot of horse meat just lying on. They're kind of annoyed about the Empire losing to the Thalmor in their war, because one of the dictates, the edicts that the Thalmor set as part of the surrender negotiations, was they banned the worship of one of the 9 divines, namely the worship of Talos, the human god, the ascended the first emperor of the current empire, of all things. Big man in Skyrim, as it happens, being a Nord, and they're all fairly pro him. So they didn't really like these prissy Nazi elves, you know, barging in and tell them not to worship their culture, their culture god king hero type. Let's try over a sword, yes. So they've kind of, let's open up that. They've kind of taken over. Well, obviously Jarl Ulfric himself runs Windhelm. They've currently taken over pretty much the eastern side of Skyrim, which is kind of strange given that I think the main entrance to the Empire is over here. So I guess it's in between. Whatever, I'm not going to complain too much. Yes, they've taken over most of the eastern side, and there is a civil war kind of brewing, if not entirely presently running. These guards are looking at me suspiciously because there was a series of minor accidental vampirisms going on around here. I got a bit peckish and one of the guards spotted me. I just wondering what that lens flare was, incidentally. The sun is appearing and disappearing at random intervals. Excellent. I think that's the plot of Dawnguard that happens, which I'll get to once I work out what I'm doing in Dawnguard. But yes, the Stormcloaks are Skyrim's for the Nords. They're not big fans of elves, which is broadly bad news for my Wood Elf character. They are distinctly not fans of the Dark Elves. Ah, yeah, Ulfric himself. And that, I'm I'm sure those two are talking to each other, but I think the scripting just went... Yes, yes, I think they're supposed to be talking to each other, and the scripting is a bit strange.
By message you mean shoving a sword through his gullet.
Taking his city and leaving him in disgrace would make a more powerful statement, don't you think?
So we're ready to start this war in earnest then.
Soon.
I still say you should take them all out like you did dead King Torrig.
Torrig was merely a message to the other Jarls. Whoever we replace them with will need the support of our army.
We're ready when you are.
Things hinge on Whiterun. If we can take the city without bloodshed, all the better. But if not,
The people are behind you.
many, I fear, still need convincing.
And let them die with their false kings.
We've been soldiers a long time. We know the price of freedom. But people are still weighing things in their hearts.
What are you looking at?
What's left of Skyrim to wager?
They have families to think of.
How many of their sons and daughters follow your banner? We are their families.
Wait,
Well put, friend.
what are you doing?
Why do you fight for me?
I'd follow you into
Why do you have the
depths
Star of Chaos? That's kind of worrying.
know that.
Yes, but why do you fight? If not for me, what then?
I'll die before elves dictate the fates of men. Are we not one in this?
I'm perfectly okay with this. Big elf.
Men I've held in my arms, dying on foreign soil. I fight for their wives and children whose names I heard whispered in their last breath. I fight for we few who did come home, only to find our country full of strangers wearing familiar faces. I fight for my people, impoverished to pay the debts of an empire too weak to rule them, yet brands them criminals for wanting to rule themselves. I fight so that all the fighting I've already done hasn't been for nothing. I fight because I must.
Your words give voice to what we all feel, Wolfric. That's why you will be High King. But the day words are enough will be the day when soldiers like us are no longer needed.
I would gladly retire from the world. Were such a day to go.
Aye. But in the meantime, we have a war to plan.
Jarl Ulfric, as it happens, is one of the, I think, possibly the only other character, well, the only other non-elderly character in the game that has the ability of the Dragonborn shouty voice. Though I believe he only knows Fusro Da, but to be fair, it's pretty much all the shout you need. Yes, you've just heard his motivations and why he's doing it. Broadly, you'll hear from the guards that they say Jarl Ulfric, in fact, shouted the previous High King to death. Heading over to Solitude, where you meet the previous High King's wife, she'll tell you he more just shouted at him, and in the confusion ran him through with a sword. In fact, talking to her further, that the previous High King Torrig was in fact sympathetic to Jarl Ulfric, and he's essentially staged what could be broadly described as a military coup. They like to think of themselves as the heroes. They're fighting to free Skyrim from the shackles of the Empire, worship their own gods, and tell the Thalmor to go perform unspeakable acts upon themselves. I'm not entirely convinced, as we said, that this is what Ulfric has to say for himself.
Speak with Garmar. He'll size you up and see where we can best use your talents.
At Helgon, they said you shouted the king to death.
Not entirely true, though not entirely false either. Any Nord can learn the way of the voice by studying with the Greybeards, given enough ambition and dedication.
Any person.
By shouting Torg to the ground, he had neither. However, it was my sword piercing his heart that killed him.
And that we know. Why, Jarl Ulfric, why are you fighting this war?
We're fighting because we're done bleeding for an empire that won't bleed for us. Untold numbers of Nords died defending the empire against the Dominion.
It's bloody Jemadar.
Skyrim being sold to the Thermal so the Emperor could keep his throne. We're fighting because our own Jarls, once strong, wise men, have become fearful and blind to the people suffering. We're fighting because Skyrim needs heroes, and there's no one else but us.
Yeah, you'll find in some of his later conversations that Ulfric and indeed most population of Windhelm are a little bit racist. They are. Windhelm is the closest major city on the east of Skyrim. The nearest territory beyond that is Morrowind. You may remember from the previous game, Morrowind. In the 200 years since Morrowind and Oblivion, Varfandel, the large volcano in Morrowind, has exploded, displacing huge quantities of dark elves. So there's an entire quarter of this town is now filled with dark elf refugees. In game there's about 3 of them, of course, but I'm willing to suspend disbelief. They're also horribly racist against the Argonians, the lizards, who they keep outside the walls in little segregated dens. And yes, their battle cry of Skyrim is for the Nords. Yeah, if you're a Nord, I think they make sense. If you're anybody else, as the song goes, down will Ulfric, the killer of kings. The day of his death we will dance and we'll sing. I imagine he's how most revolution leaders would like to see themselves. He sees himself as you've heard, as the hero, as the leader of this noble rebellion against the Empire, and for all his bluster, you know, he has an army. He has. We saw on the map over there, the blue lands are indeed his. A bit less than the Empire currently. Nice touch. You can use any of these items on the map, you will indeed get the location on the map, which is nice. Whiterun, the city in the centre which they were talking about, is presently technically neutral in the war, though both sides pretty much assume it's imperial. It's currently the That's nice. It's currently the crux of the battle, and I believe that one of the major events, if you start the Civil War storyline, is the battle for Whiterun, because once it gets captured by either side, well, they've got more towns, and according to 4X rules, can now begin steamrolling the enemy. In the meantime, I intend to leave this place in the traditional manner. He can first, but only I can Rodar. Now it's time to leave. Yes, Telos smite me, Telos Tiber Septim. Telos Tiber Septim, the first emperor of the current empire. God, man, culture hero, and if I can find a temple of him anywhere, is now currently Lenin, thanks to the Talos is Lenin mod. It's a beautiful mod, totally lore friendly, that does nothing but convert every statue of Talos in game to a statue of Lenin. It's surprisingly impressive. In the meantime, I should probably try and evade some guards that... apparently I have evaded all the guards. Again, vampirism, super fast. Oh, bloody hell, that's Jarl Ulfric. Whoa! Wow, ow, that's leaving a mark. Well, I just had my Rodar Foost.
Come on, I dare you.
Oh yeah? Okay. Suck it down. I don't think I'm going to be welcome in this town anytime soon, it must be said. On the other hand, as I've said, I'm not a huge fan of the Stormcloaks. I find their nationalism doesn't really work for me. Again, my character here is a wood elf, amongst other things, and as I'll talk about more in the Imperial video, I think they're in the wrong. They have a point. Yes, the worship of Talos is a major thing in their lives. It should be a feature of every yes, I'm trying to talk while being chased by all the guards. Bye. Yes. Anyway, yes, I have to say it. It's fair enough. They should be able to worship it. The Thelmor shouldn't be allowed to stick their giant Nazi elven boots over everything. But on the other hand, that's all they have. They don't have plans for the future other than just Skyrim's full of Nords. There's no thought really behind it. It's just we have this one objective, and once it's achieved, question mark, profit. And I can't really agree with that. But again, it's up in the air. I mean, both sides raise points. This is the Stormcloak side. They want their freedom of their religion. They want they believe that the Nords will be better off separate from the Empire. And in the short term, certainly they are indeed 100% correct. In the long term, though, yeah. Whoa, Foost again. Please. Ow, 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 ow. Not ideal. This isn't me in slow time now, this is just my super speed vampirism. Yep, Yoda. Skyrim belongs to the Nords. Stomp, 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 stomp. Face punch. Hi. Ah, there's an arrow in flight. No, he's not in flight. Ah, there's an arrow in flight. Yoink! Yeah, so the nice thing about the Master Space-Time Continuum mod is you can physically stop time and catch arrows out of the air while they're shooting you. Anyway, I think I'm pretty done with talking about the Stormcloaks here. They've put their case forward in their shouty way. I've talked a bit about their background. I've annoyed them quite severely. But yeah, I can see why people would regard them as the people who should be in charge. It's like I suppose it's in the case of Jarl Ulfric, the horribly racist murderer that is their leader. It's like Julian Assange. It doesn't matter how good your points are. It just doesn't excuse you being an asshole to everybody. Well, I suppose there's only one way I can think of sensibly to escape this current battle. Broomhorse! Oh boy, have I spaced and timed again? Ah, something must be power attacking me over there. Okay, this bodes really well. So I suppose the other way I can escape from them is to actively, inexplicably, completely freeze time. I don't know how well it's going to come out in the video, but all I can see now essentially is essentially multiple blurs. Oh, now time comes back. Now, where's my Broomhorse? Broomhorse, to me! Whoop, 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 whoop. Whoop, 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 whoop. I'm probably not going to be going back to Whiterun anytime soon, it must be noted. No major loss, it's got some nice architecture as we've seen as I've run around it quite a lot. On the other hand, it is filled with, well, Stormcloaks who now want to kill me because I may have accidentally shouted them across the country. Wait, what are you? Okay, those are fireballs. Speaking as a vampire, I am not hugely fond of being hit by fireballs. As such, I shall wield the sacred... I was going to say the Sword of Ages, but... You know what? I'm just going to punch your face in, because you're annoying me. Well, the nice touch about being a vampire is, of course, you're actually get increased physical strength. Which makes, as I've discovered in a recent bit of gaming, beating people up with your bare hands is surprisingly effective. Oh, and that sounded unpleasant. It's a shame that wasn't a third-person kill cam, really. That must be done. Put out the heart. And we can use them as Grizzly Trophy. And that is a full set of well, that's mostly a full set of ebony armor. And now I can't run anymore. Which is a shame. Because I really think those guards are probably bearing down on me. Yep, I'm completely going to drop. I can drop that out of my inventory. Okay, fine, I'll drop the ebony armor. I'll drop the ebony gauntlets. And, well, I think I'll call this video a stop here. I've annoyed everyone, I've beaten somebody off with my bare hands. Well, a fully plate-armed person out with my bare hands, and I have this utterly astounding view with this, with the reimagined EMB. And I'll come back later with a, well, later in a couple of days, couple of weeks, depending on how well I feel, basically. With the Imperial side of the story, I'm not sure if I'll shout out the Imperials. Their town is slightly larger. I don't actually have a particular reason not to shout out the Imperials, I suppose. So I suppose I can blast the General across the room. For now, though, have fun, and if I haven't explained anything about the Stormcloaks, tough.